You can even speak, because the event is on voice. So you can even use your microphone, or you can just type in the local chat. Okay. So Liz asked a question that how do you define mindfulness? So mindfulness has many definition, but I just stick to simple thing, something which is very easy to understand. So mindfulness is basically a practice where we focus on our breathing. That's it. Okay, but yes, there are different kind of mindfulness, but the foundation of mindfulness is focusing on our breathing. But the real meaning of mindfulness, or the goal of mindfulness, is seeing reality as it is. Okay, what happens when we are looking at something? Most of the time we are not just experiencing reality as it is, but we ascribe our own emotions, our own opinions, our own judgment. We are looking through our own lens, and the reality got distorted. So mindfulness is a practice where we focus on our breathing, and we develop our mind so that we can see the reality as it is. So to me, mindfulness is a art of uh, being a witness. Why I say this word witness? Because when we do mindfulness, our mind gets divided into two parts. One part is the subjective part, that is the self which is experiencing something, and another part is objective, that is the contemplative self. And today we will discuss about this thing, because today what we are going to discuss, there is a very profound connection with mindfulness. So mindfulness is a practice where we focus on our breathings, and we develop our mind to see reality as it is. So that's a very easy definition. Okay. Today we are going to discuss a topic called metacognition. Okay, and I will discuss why it is related with mindfulness. But what is metacognition? Meta means going beyond, and cognition means thinking. Yeah. So metacognition means the process of thinking about thinking. It sounds a little, kind of riddle, but it's a very easy thing, very simple thing. So it is basically the process of thinking about thinking. And it is not new. Yes, in modern time, the psychology has uh, introduced this topic called metacognition, and this metacognition was coined by a psychologist called John Flavel. And John Flavel is known as the father of metacognitions. So before the John Flavel, there are other psychologists who talked about it, like William James. But John Flavel is the person who coined this term and did many study on metacognition. Now, if we look at the ancient time, some ancient societies, metacognition was there, like in Greek philosophy, in Stoic philosophy. There is a very powerful saying, "Know thyself." Yeah, uh, it is even written on a temple. Yeah, if you have read about Tao Te Ching, or the Book of Taoism, the Lao Tzu, the writer of the book, he is saying that knowing other is intelligence and knowing yourself is wisdom. So yeah, it's there. Even in the Zen Buddhism, even in the Indian traditions, even in some other religion, the same concept was there. Uh, that how we can know ourselves. And metacognitions actually goes one step further. So what is basically metacognition? So uh, metacognition has two parts. First part is awareness of how we are doing something. Yeah. And the second part is whether the approach is actually working or not. And we can apply metacognition in any area of life. That is the beauty of metacognition. Suppose uh, you know you are trying to build something in Second Life and it's not working, and uh, you are trying and you are trying, but you are not able to build. So you just step back, you just take a pause, and you observe yourself. It's like, I mean, you just step back, step out of your body, and looking at yourself from outside, and you are observing that whether what you are doing is working or not. So metacognitions, uh, true, true. Uh, Awareness has different viewpoints. So here we are not going to discuss about like awareness and consciousness, but we will make it very simple. So here we are just being aware of how we are doing something. And when I will give the example of mindfulness DOM, then it will be clear to you and to other people as well. So that is why I told that it has a direct connection with mindfulness. So what, how we are doing and whether what we are doing is working or not. So it has basically 2-3 steps, very simple steps. First is taking a pause, and whenever we get stuck at something, it could be at our office, it could be at our home, it could be in our academics, maybe we are trying to give a test, anywhere we can use this uh, metacognition. So we can just step back, we can observe, we can evaluate, and then we can readjust ourselves that whether this strategy is working or not. And John Flavel, the father of metacognition, he did many research, but I will talk about only one research here due to time constraint. So he took two group of students. So one group of students were from, they were younger, they are school students, or maybe uh, uh, just 10 years old or 11 years old. You know. And he took another group who are studying at college, no, older adult. So younger kids and older adult. Yeah, John Flavel, yes. Yeah, so you can Google him, and if you want to know more about John Flavel, you can. Yeah, most welcome. This you can just check his work and his research and his study. So what he did, he took two groups for this research or for this study, and one group consists of younger kids, and another group consists of older adult who are at their college or maybe university. And John Flavel gave 10 flashcards, and on each card there was a picture of a particular object. So he handed 10 cards to students. So those younger kid, they try to remember. The goal was to remember all the names, all the items, and the item was like a baseball bat, a pet dog name, snacks, a tree, something like that. So he did the same thing. He handed those flashcards to younger kids and to the older people. And he gave them a few minutes, and then he asked to repeat the name of those 10 items. So what he observed that those younger kids, they could remember 5 or 6 items at most, because he did not give so much time to remember. But the older adult, they could remember, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Why? Because the younger kids, they just wanted to remember, just memorize so that they can, perform the task. But the older adult, they actually formed a strategy. They try to find some pattern, and they try to make a mental mapping, or they try to make a relationship, like after playing baseball, I play with these pets, and I have this particular snack. So they created a story in their mind. But so they thought about a strategy, but this is not what the younger kids did. And that is why they could not remember all the 10 items. But the older kids, older students, they could remember 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So this is one of the study. Okay, but there are many other study also what he did, which you can find on Google. Now, metacognitions we can apply in learning, whatever we are learning. Maybe you are learning a music instrument, maybe you are learning how to do some building, I mean how to build on Second Life. Maybe you are learning some new language, or maybe you are just trying to paint something, you are learning a new coding language. So any learning or in any kind of knowledge, you can practice this. Just step back, observe, evaluate, and readjust, because it's a kind of awareness of how we are doing and whether the approach is working or not. Sometimes we are not able to readjust, and because ego plays a very important part here. Sometimes we human beings cannot accept that we took a wrong approach, but we have to do that. The faster we can unlearn and relearn, the better it is for ourselves. And our brain is like that. There are million and billion of neurons, and they are creating different connections, you know and they are making different neural pathways. So that is the fascinating thing about our brain, that our brain is not static. Constantly our brain is changing, what we call neuroplasticity. So we are growing new neurons, and we are creating new connections, uh, and over the time what we repeat, based on that, different new connections are created inside our brain. But this particular metacognition is not only applicable to knowledge or learning. There is another very important part of our life where metacognition can play a very important role. Uh, that is emotional regulation. And we all are emotional being, and we all have different kind of emotions, and sometimes we are driven by emotions. Sometimes we react, sometimes we get angry, sometimes we become, we feel very overwhelming, we get upset. So the emotional regulations, or as Lee said, emotional awareness, plays a very important role in our life. And nowadays, the scientist says, or the psychologist says, that EQ is more important than IQ. The emotional quotient, or the emotional intelligence, is more important than IQ, or intelligence quotients. And there is one person who did a lot of good work, and his name is Daniel Goleman. If you want to know more about emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, you can read his books. Very, very nice books. I have read one, The Emotional Intelligence. So, what happens when we are driven by emotion? So, in our brain, there are two area which is involved. One area which is the limbic part of our brain, the older part, okay, we can say, or we can say the emotional part. And there is one particular organ which plays a very important role, that is amygdala. So amygdala is a emotional center of our brain, and amygdala is very important. I mean, amygdala is our survival mechanism. Okay, and for thousands and millions of years we have, evolving. The amygdala is still there and doing the same work. So when we are getting emotionally driven, and we all go through different kind of situations in life. Maybe, we had a argument with our office colleague, or maybe a neighbor, or maybe a family person, and sometimes we react emotionally, and because of that, later on we feel guilty, or maybe we feel upset, or many things happens. So here, what our aim is to take the control from this limbic part of our brain, that is the emotional part of the brain, the amygdala, to the executive part of the brain. And what is executive part of the brain? That is our prefrontal cortex, which thinks rationally, logically, you know. So whenever we get triggered, or whenever we are feeling very emotionally vulnerable, we can just shift the control from amygdala to prefrontal cortex by doing one simple thing, that is taking a pause. So this first concept of metacognitions, we need to take a pause, and there should be a reasonable gap between the trigger and your response. Okay, and for some people the gaps are different. I mean, for different people the gaps are different. Maybe for some people they start thinking logically after just counting to 30, so many therapists, they tell you this thing, that when you get triggered, before saying something to someone, you just count till 30, or maybe 60, or maybe 90. Okay, like I said, a different number work for different people, but the aim or the purpose is to delay as much as you can before you react. Okay, what happens if you delay for some time? Automatically your prefrontal cortex takes the control. That is why it says that, you know don't take any decisions, don't take any decisions when you are very emotional, or when you are angry, or when you are very excited, because that times the brain is not working in a logical manner. Everything looks hunky-dory, and we feel like we are at the top of the world, but that is the time we should not take any decision. Okay, so there are many other things also which is helpful. So when you are having any kind of emotional outburst, you just isolate yourself, you know and do some deep breathing. Because what happens when we do deep breathing, that we uh, we take ourselves from the uh, sympathetic mode to parasympathetic mode, so where that is the rest and digest kind of mechanism in our body, and automatically our blood pressure decreases, our pulse rate decreases, and we feel uh, at home. So, but for that, like we need to practice deep breathing for at least 4 to 5 minutes. It does not happen with 1 minute. Okay, so taking the brain from the sympathetic to parasympathetic, or parasympathetic to sympathetic, it takes some time. Okay, for at least 5 minutes you can do some deep breathing. Now here, uh, so here, metacognition plays a very wonderful role, and it can save us. Most of the time we react because of amygdala, so we can just delay. We can just take a pause and automatically let the prefrontal cortex take the control, and most of the time it can save us from many many I mean, what should I say, uh, devastating situations, right? uh, or you can just practice mindfulness. You can just focus on your breathing for a few minutes, and then um, automatically the prefrontal cortex will take the control. Now, the next thing that we are going to discuss is the relationship with mindfulness with the metacognitions. When we do mindfulness, the mind gets divided into two parts, like I said before, subjective part and objective part. So part of the mind is a doer or thinker, and the part of the mind is the witness, the watcher. That is why gave the name of this session that the art of becoming the watcher. So you are thinker as well as you are the watcher, the witness. Okay, and there are two different levels of awareness working here. One level of awareness is your thinking, and the second level of awareness is you are watching yourself. Okay, and the witness mind is like a internal coach. So whenever uh, your mind is going somewhere else, not on your breathing, the internal coach monitors and it says, okay, go back to your breathing. Yeah. So maybe you have started doing mindfulness, and after 2 minutes your mind is thinking something else, and you forgot to focus on your breathing sensation. So maybe you are thinking that how could I pay my bills next month, where should I go for vacation, which pizza should I order uh, from Domino's. And the watcher self, he says that no, no, you know uh, your mind is not focusing on the breathing. You go back to your breathing. And this tussle goes on. Your mind drifts away, and you compassionately, gently bring it back to your breathing sensation. And that's what mindfulness is all about. You know, and slowly and gradually you develop your mental muscle, and your mind does not wander so randomly after you practice for a couple of weeks the mindfulness. Then you will see the difference. Maybe earlier there were 200 thoughts. The thoughts will gradually be less. It will not be empty. It's impossible for our mind to be empty. But at least the thoughts will be less. Okay, that we can achieve. In mindfulness, there is one very important realization that we do in mindfulness, and the similar thing is discussed in psychology, or how we can psychologically distance ourselves. That is, and this particular technique is known as decentering. Now, what is decentering? Decentering means that the moment a thought comes to your mind that I'm angry, you know, Or maybe, I remember when I first started Second Life in 2008. One of our college professor, showed a documentary. At that time I was doing my master, and I was very curious, and I, downloaded Second Life viewer. That time we did not have other viewers like Singularity, or like Thunderstorm. We did not have, only the Second Life viewer, and the graphic was very, very primitive. So, but after I installed Second Life, I did not know how to do that. So for 1 week, I just, was roaming around to different scenes. I did not find any people. I did not know how to, change the dress, or, build something. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Instead of saying that I am so stupid, I could have said that I am having the thought that I don't understand what the Second Life is all about. This technique is called decentering. So instead of saying that I am angry, I can say that I am having the thought of an anger. Instead of saying I am upset, I can say I am having an upsetting thought, and if I do not, you know, uh, engage with it, the thought will go away after sometimes, right? Sometimes people also call it detached mindfulness. It's a kind of detached mindfulness. Why detached? Because the thought will come to our mind, but we will not engage with it. So it's like, you are sitting on a railway platform. Different trains are coming in and going out, but you are not going to, get onto any train. You are just simply sitting quietly and watching the drama. The different trains are coming on the platform, staying there for 2 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then going away. The same thing is known as decentering. What happens most of the time, we identify ourselves with our emotions. I am angry, I am upset, I am depressed, I am, uh, jealous, I am stupid. But that is not true. So just the aim of mindfulness is, seeing the reality as it is. The reality is I am not stupid. You know, I am having the thought that I do not understand this. And here we are changing the internal dialogue. We are changing the relationship with our narratives. And many people, they suffer from low self-esteem. Okay. But the moment we start doing this practice, that whenever this thought comes that, oh my God, I'm a very stupid person, or I'm very angry right now, you can just change the narrative that no, no, I am having the thought of an anger, and if I do not engage, it will go away after some time. Just like clouds come, stay at one place and then it goes away. Okay, so it's a Zen metaphor. In Zen Buddhism, you will find this metaphor again and again. So there are two metaphors which is very common in Zen Buddhism, like this cloud metaphor and this you need to let the water settle down and then you can see the reflection, or then you can see the bottom. So these are some, like philosophical way of saying, but the psychology, points to the same thing, that we need to sometimes distant, sometimes we need to, you know uh, practice this uh, psychological distancing. Okay, and this is where metacognition is very, very helpful. uh, there is another important aspect of metacognition is uh, whatever we are doing, every day, most of the time we do not reflect. Okay, so metacognition tells us that how we can reflect onto something, that maybe we are learning something, or maybe we are working at a job, maybe we are you know pursuing any particular hobby, but maybe we can just take some time, take a pause, and observe and evaluate and readjust ourselves. So metacognition also teaches us that how we can readjust and how we can change our strategy, and we all have experienced it. Like when you write something, the writers, those people who loved writing or who used to work as a writer, they have these metacognitions. uh, Before the Google Maps came. Nowadays we all have Google Map, but 20 years back, 30 years back, we used to have the physical map, paper map. And maybe you took a wrong road, took a wrong turn, and after some times you started thinking, no, 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 it should not have taken that long time. I must have taken a wrong turn, or I must have taken a wrong uh, road. And that is metacognition. So it's a kind of aha moment, and it's a kind of oh moment. Oh, I have to make a mistake. Oh, now I it just shines, it just illuminates inside your brain. Oh, for this it was not happening. Oh my god. Okay. So metacognition has so many applications, and like I said, metacognition is not new. Starting from the know thyself to the teachings of Buddha, to the teachings of Taoism, the teachings in some other religions, it is there because it it basically uh, it's a kind of contemplation, it's a kind of introspections, and in every culture this ritual of introspection is there. But here we are connecting with the learning, we are connecting with the emotional regulations or emotional awareness, and we are connecting with improving ourselves. So every day we can practice some metacognitions, maybe just for a few minutes. uh, we can do mindfulness. So mindfulness it's itself a kind of metacognitions, where a part of our mind starts thinking, and a part of our mind says, no, no, your mind is drifting away. Oh, your mind has gone to the lunch. Oh, your mind is thinking about a movie or something like that. Come back to your breathing. So this is how metacognition really really help us. And if you want to know more about metacognitions, definitely you can go to YouTube, or you can go to Google. You can search John Flavel and some of his study, and you can get more informations. Okay, so that was all for today. But if you have any questions, if you would like to share your experience, or if you want to share any practice that helped you, that also you can do, because we all learn from each other here. Okay, now over to all of you, and you can use your voice, or you can type in the local chat. Okay. Oh, many I mean, I forgot to see the local chat. Okay.
I think Dom is the person who has the question right now.
Okay, okay, sure, Tom. If you have any questions, okay. So he has written that MC seems like a good idea, but the brain is already wired to choose the shortest neuro pathway to arrive at a conclusion. So who minds the minder? As this is the major issue when people questions their own judgment. True, true. So because our the brain is wired not for happiness, but it is wired for our survival. And because of the survival, it always looks for the shortest pathway. But we can change it, with some practice. There are many practices which leads to neuroplasticity. There are many practices which changes our brain, and we can train our brain to practice these metacognitions. So even though sometimes brain reacts in a very short time, reacts emotionally, but we can change it. And there is a hope because of neuroplasticity. And so D says that we become the minder of our own minds. True, true. So there is a famous saying of Buddha that uh, similar things. What Lao Tzu says that become your own master, or um, similar thing that if you can control others, you are powerful, and if you can control yourself, you are more wise and you become your own master. So uh, yes, so the wonderful thing or the fascinating thing about our brain is through practice, and the practice does not have to be like 5 hours a day or 10 hours a day. You can even just practice for a few minutes, and that will shape your brain, and that will rewire your brain. But most of the time what we do, we just keep on working on the autopilot and we do not take the charge. And that is the reason we our life does not, I mean, the same way we keep on thinking last 5 years, that's the similar thing happens. So oh, okay, that is great. uh, so Dom already knows many things about it. Great. Okay. But there are
Yeah,
more
Dom.
things
Oh, I
to
mean,
know,
Bodhi.
like the new field of consciousness, the new field of awareness. So it's very, very fascinating. And I think in near future, we will have more wisdom of how our brain works and how the consciousness works and how we can uh, make it more stronger and powerful. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Dom, for your
Somebody
question.
wanted to say something, I think.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Who was
Uh,
talking?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I wanted to ask a question. Um,
I was struck during your speech by one moment when you said, your ignorance, you're kind of like uh, getting outside of yourself, seeing yourself above, looking at yourself from outside. I thought, well, that's what we're doing right now. And one of the things about that is that it seems like technology is a very different kind of presence. When you say we're going in autopilot day by day, I think most of what's happening there is we are feeling very present in the moment. We are doing things. And that's what kicks in this kind of autopilot feeling. But in technology, it's very different. We're aware of what's going on, and
okay.
we're doing things like here in Second Life, but I think there is that extra step we have to take back. And so presence sometimes I think helps us a lot as artists or creative people. I think we want to be in that flow, like Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi said, we want to be in that flow
Hmm.
when we create best. But we do also need that time when we can break away from that presence.
Got it.
And so my
So
question to you is basically, how can you dig into that presence? What kind of tools can you use about to dig into that a little bit?
got it. So Jack, I mean, I can call you Jack, right? Okay. So
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
okay, okay. So mainly your question was, what do I think that how technology is altering our mental faculties and how we can, uh, get away of with it, or how we can take a step back, because sometimes we are so distracted. We are using screens for most of our time, like 10 hours, 15 years. Was that your question, Zach, that how in this technological.
Yes, go ahead with that, Bodhi. Thank
Got
you.
it, got it, got it. So it's very true that how the modern technology is rewiring our brain mostly social media and these short videos and the reels and the targeted advertisements, definitely. And there are so many different research papers are there, and there are so many research findings that how negatively it's impacting our brain. The most I mean things which I will not say destroy, but I will say it's definitely do a lot of harm to our brain. That is the scrolling thing, and this scrolling phenomena is there everywhere. In which whatever platform you go, mostly social media, we keep on scrolling, because when we scroll, each time we are scrolling or each time we are swapping, uh, it secretes some kind of dopamine to our brain, and over a time our brain becomes dopamine addicted, and we keep on doing more and more and more. It's kind of smoking or drinking or kind of gambling. Now, in a very realistic manner, we cannot be fully detached from this technology that we are using, because we all use social media. Even I also sometimes use social media. But what we can do, we can have some good principle, like every day after 10 p.m. I will switch off my internet connection. Okay, maybe weekly, one day I will not use any internet connection. I will not watch any videos. That day I will watch some movies on televisions, or I will read some books. I will go outside, but I will not switch on the internet. If we can do this kind of thing, just one day, internet fasting, or maybe every day at 10 p.m. I will just switch off my internet. Slowly it will start reviving our brain. Our attention span will start getting longer, uh, and we can have better uh, we can have better mental faculties. So what I do, I do not install any social media apps on my mobile phone. So you won't find any social media apps on my mobile phone. So I have restricted my social media time, like half an hour maximum. Yeah, I watch videos a lot on YouTube, but I do not watch short videos, because these short videos again work on this dopamine driven mechanism. uh, I try to use the technology in a more moderations, and even at night I don't take my phone in a bed. I used to do that, and I found that when I took my mobile phone in my bed, I used to stay up to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It was an addiction. So some little steps we can take. Maybe it will not drastically change our life in a single day, but if we can keep on this kind of detachment, slowly and gradually, our mind will be more stronger, and our mind will be more healthier, because some of this social media and other things, it leads to a lot of negative emotions. We do not know, subconsciously it happens, but yes, it does happen. A lot of research are going on for that, and yes, so we need to use it. And sometimes these platforms are so addictive that our willpower even does not work. So only possible solution is just switch off your internet. Okay, yeah. Any other question, or anything else, and then we can close the session. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that no one has any other question right now, and just thank you so much for spending your time on the Sunday morning. And yeah, you're most welcome, Jack. And next Sunday we will again come and we will discuss a different topic related to brain health and related to mental health, and how we can have more resilient person, how we can have better emotional regulations, and we can discuss some other topics about positive psychology. Yeah, I am very happy to be back. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. And thank you for your warm welcome, Liz and Dee. And next Sunday, I look forward to meet you all and share something, the little thing that I knew. Okay. So thank you so much, and we shall meet next Sunday at 10 a.m. Second Lifetime. Okay, thank you.